with the face who runs the place, T-Roy, the OG on the marquee, Jaybird, and the cat who runs the chat with the stats, Statman Surge. We are Don't Hassle Us, We're Local. We're not a Quad City Sports Talk radio show. We're not the Quad City Sports Talk radio show. We are your Quad City Sports Talk radio show. Welcome to the conversation, Quad Cities. But first, the dawn.
All right, everybody, welcome to the most famous sports talk radio show in the entire Quad Cities.
Yeah, there you go.
That's right, that's us. We got so much traction, we can't slide.
Wow.
This is Don't Hassle Us, We're Local here on AM 1170. Leah is now the most famous eye-rolling woman on the planet.
That's true. That's true.
Jay, you are the hard-pounding reporter who gets all the good people to come on our show. We have such a great day planned for you, Quad Cities. We have... Tyler Goodson's mom coming on today.
Yes.
I get it. Felicia Goodson.
Yep.
Want to make sure I didn't mispronounce. Man, we have a great show.
What an amazing Thursday
we ended off Thursday very well. I want to thank everybody out there who shared that, who went on to view it afterwards. We had quite the amount of viewers at the time. Mm-hmm. For those of you that saw me last, I really wasn't that upset.
Let's put it this way. Here, let me sum this up. Let me sum this up.
Yeah, sum it up, Jay.
I hope everyone had a happy and safe 4th of July.
Absolutely.
It was a long holiday weekend. Somehow the fireworks started a little bit earlier than the 4th of July. They started roughly around 2:23 in the afternoon in the studio.
Yeah.
Yes, they did.
There's a friend of the show, Matt Erickson, who put it on Twitter. He said the earbuds came out from T-Roy, mic drop, or whatever else. If you see, usually on our Facebook Live, and thank you for those who are watching on Facebook Live and listening on ESPN 1170 AM on the app or on ESPN1170am.com. But you can also see in the picture where my head drops. So he writes this at the moment when the earpods come out and they drop and my head drops, and I said, and I know the interview is over. What we're referring to is Thursday.
And I had no idea he hung up immediately after I walked out the door.
Oh, you knew it was coming.
But I figured he was going to stay on and try to at least rebuttal what I said. I had no idea that he was going to be so cowardly.
No. In his defense, he thought... I will give this. I will read something that he said afterwards, and I will give him only the defense that he thought... I will allow him the opportunity to say that he thought we hung up on him. Okay? Even though I begged him.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
I begged him. You can hear in my voice where I say, "No, that's not me. That's not me, Robert.
Yep.
That's Troy. Just hold tight. Hold tight. Stay with us." And he said, like, "I got it," or "I understand how this works now," and then he hung up.
Well, he goes, "I got what I wanted." I heard him say, "I got what I wanted." Well,
so I don't believe that at all.
Anyway, going back to this is an interview with Robert T. Green, who is the representative for Akron Wiley and other players. This is pre-postgame.com. I've been blocked on Twitter from him since. I have not. And it's not a matter of it's not a matter I'm afraid to. I haven't put the words together yet. I don't know if I'm blocked on Messenger on Facebook yet. But I do still want to thank him for his time and say if anyone wants to come, if whoever wants to come back on, feel free. I have a few problems with some of the things he said afterwards. All right, again, how we got to this situation, how we got him on the air, is a big like roller coaster of him saying like, "You don't know me, you've done this and that," and I told you guys beforehand. I said it hurt my feelings, and it shouldn't have. But it was just a matter of he was generalizing me and just thinks that part of the media. If you go back and listen to it, because I'll look at some of the things he said. At about 20 minutes into the interview, he said, "I love this show. I love the interaction. I love the conversation. I love the back and forth. I like you guys." Mm-hmm. All right. It was some 33 minutes later that he got upset. All right. The very beginning also, him and I were on the same page because we said, "Hey, Robert, we didn't just throw the guy on. We did a little bit of research, and not in a bad way. We wanted to know his story. So we said, "Robert, tell us your story." So we asked him his story, and we agreed to it. And then he said, "But I'm here to talk about this." And I said, "Absolutely. What we're here to talk about is what we're here to talk about. But, Robert, like we do for any interview, we want people to know who the person is behind the voice. So we wanted to give you to give your time to tell your story."
Right.
So there was nothing big about that. Nothing bad about that. What he kind of said about us was that we were more concerned about when he was shot growing up? Because it says we were deflecting and creating narratives of a black hustler. It's not true.
Not
No,
true.
we did not
at
whatsoever.
All. I don't remember bringing up him being shot at all.
We did. Well, we
I
said
did.
in
the very beginning.
because it's
Yeah. relative to a story of how his
But we didn't
career
focus on that.
his career as an athlete got stopped in its tracks because he
of
was
that,
shot.
right? But we did not focus on that event whatsoever.
And
at any point
it
in
gave
the interview.
perspective as to why as I was reaching out, I was trying to give perspective to the audience to say he's out here trying to help athletes because his career was caught short, or whatever terminology you want to use. His career was shortened. He wanted to go out there. He knew the ins and outs, and he wanted to help. Now, as the interview went on, Jay, I felt he has no true, and this is my opinion, so fine, you can take it for what it's worth. In my opinion, he has no true care for these athletes he's trying to help. This is a monetary thing. He seemed to me to be very much Don King. Talking loud, talking nonstop.
Yep.
And
trying to capitalize.
Saying nothing of relevance. When Tom, Jay, or Leah, Sir Bomb.
Yeah, I'm
Sir Bomber, by the way. That's your new nickname, Sir.
Wait, what was the poll? Is it Sir or Bomber?
I gotta look at the Twitter.
I think it's Sir Bomber.
I think it's Sir Bomber's gonna stick
great,
now.
Sir Bomber now.
But either way, what I'm getting at is he would either not answer the question or repeatedly he interrupted Tom in the middle of his question.
Or change the subject altogether.
Right. So Tom would be in the middle of asking a question, and as soon as Tom said a trigger word in his eyes, whether it was let at one point, and that's kind of where at that point, I think I had had enough.
You were done.
I kind of lost it right there when he.
I could feel it.
And I'm like, okay, this is it. I'm letting him have it. In my eyes, I'm like, I'm going to tell him exactly what I feel in a very calm way.
Right. Well,
I didn't yell. I just told him. I said, he won't be. He'll be a footnote in this, if anything.
Yeah.
And if this does come to some sort of class action suit, and he's part of the somehow represented. I mean, and that's why I think with today's interview, which I really hope this is going to be great, because I think what Felicia Goodson is trying to do here is absolutely good. And in short, we'll let her go in and talk in detail, but this is all the lawyers involved in this, guys, all working pro bono.
Wow.
So this is
what we're talking. Going to talk to her.
Sure. Right.
Not
So
about
this is
and Felicia's the attorney.
True help.
No. We'll get to. Mine is the Minority Athlete Coalition that Felicia started, and she's going to tell the story about this.
And she does not want to limit it to just minorities either. She says it, and she wants all athletes to be involved. Okay. So I mean, this is pretty. So I'm not pretty significant. I think
not done with the story here.
Okay.
That he also said. He said we were concerned about protecting the brand over the athletes. That's not true. We said plenty of times we want to hear the athlete's story. We 100% want to hear the athlete's story.
He refused to say it.
We want to, and then the other thing was that he doesn't require proper channels or permission from Kirk Ferentz to speak. So that's not the point. All right, that's not what I said to him.
that Iowa book that we had out earlier. By the way,
what I said to him was. What I had said to him was when he kept questioning the media, and we had Kakert here. He was here to my left, and I said, and I have a thing in front of me where he talks about the media and how the media, how they don't cover anything and that they're full of blind spots. So I said, why not create your own media?
Right.
And he said, that's not the business I'm in. And I said, but you're putting these things out there. You're just putting it on Facebook, and it's not really getting that far. I mean, obviously, the Akron Wiley got to the ESPN, the byline underneath. So, but I said, why not? Did you contact the media guys that you say have blind spots?
Right.
Did you use the proper channels to get your word out there? And that's when he scoffed at me, and he said, why do I have to do proper channels after this? And so I waited my turn. If you go back and listen, I waited my turn until he was done, and I said, but you scoff at I say proper channels, but earlier in the day, you called me unprofessional for how I got a hold of you.
Right.
You said I had to email the admin, which, by the way, is him, and ask for the interview and do everything. I just basically, what I did in the messenger when I first got a hold of him, which I've gotten a hold of many sports personalities, athletes, celebrities that way to be on the show, And that's okay. He asked a certain way to do it, and I did it. But he said, you have to do the proper channels. It's unprofessional the way you're doing it. I basically wrote the exact same thing in an email to him, but it says to the admin. And then he comes back and says, I don't have to I'm not required your proper channels. I was required his proper channels to get this interview.
Right, and you went about it the way he requested.
He canceled all the interviews that he had for
afterwards.
the next day.
Yeah, I saw us tagged in a bunch of stuff on Twitter. So we got some shout outs from the canceled.
I will say also, I do not do a good enough job of mentioning the Quad Cities, of mentioning our Twitter handle, or mentioning ESPN 1170 AM. I must not, because a certain online publication only referred to us as a local radio station. Oh. They did not tag us. They did not link us. They did not say anything else. They referred to us as a local radio station. Could mean that we're in Cedar Rapids. Could mean that we're in Mason City. Mm-hmm. Could mean we're in Council Bluffs. Could mean we're in Dubuque. Could mean Decorah. Could mean the Quad Cities. Could mean Ottumwa.
Right.
A certain publication, and this is probably my fault because I do not say we are located in the Quad Cities or we're ESPN 1170 AM or this is Don't Hassle Us, we're local. And we're the only local sports talk radio show that's been in the Quad City area in the past 15 years. But we are referred to as just a local radio station.
I don't like it. I don't like it one bit.
Bomber, it's kind of a no-no.
Yeah, it's a total no-no.
I don't...
Are we going to call him out?
I don't know where to go with this because I have a weird history with this online publication.
I think I have an idea who this online publication is.
I don't know what the person's problem is with us. It's not on there.
Do I know the person?
You don't.
Okay.
I don't know why I've never shook hands with the man. From every account that I have of everybody I've talked to who's actually nice enough to reach out on Twitter and say like, hey, can I use this? Can I use this for either a podcast or a show? I've also said like, hey, what's this guy's deal? And they're like, I don't know. He's really a good guy. I don't know what's going on.
Maybe he's threatened.
No.
You don't think so?
No. I have my own thoughts, but it's not here nor there.
You can share them when we're out there.
I'll get to maybe eventually. It's just I don't want to come in hot and be like, oh, and start some Twitter beef with some guy that I don't know. It's not my style.
You leave that for me, Jay.
There you go. And but there are other people out there like
she likes playing with beef.
Hey.
Yeah. Well, I mean, starting beef.
I mean, my goodness.
What?
First thing you know what I meant.
It's Monday. I'm not ready for this.
Oh.
The Swarmcast, David Eichholt. And you guys go listen to that. He did an emergency podcast. He broke it down. I listened on Saturday morning. He did a good job with us. Todd Brownkamp, our sister station in Cedar Rapids, they did a 4 o'clock show. How they did the editing is amazing because guess what? That was one of the craziest 53 minutes of my life.
Yeah.
And everyone asked, like, what was that like? And I said, do you remember being on those old school merry-go-rounds and you're trying to stop it?
And you can't.
There's just no way.
You just got to throw yourself off.
Or you're trying to stick your hands up, but they just keep.
Or the parents have to hold it.
You're trying to stop it, and it just keeps hurting over and over. But you just keep putting your hands back in to try to direct how it goes. Yes. That's what I was doing the entire time.
I saw your face versus his face. I mean, the difference was astounding. Like you were angry, and you were just trying to keep the peace. It's just it's funny because it just.
I tried to explain this to Jay kind of afterwards, but I have this. Whatever it is, I feel I have this internal instinct at times to defend and
stand up for what you believe in.
Well, but I have like friends and family of that, and so Tom is a friend,
right.
And as this guy continually interrupted him, continually
called him arrogant.
Called him arrogant, and then called us arrogant.
That is if that's
and
not
then
the pot
at the
calling
same
the kettle
time,
black.
here my friend Jay is telling me my feelings were hurt, where I actually had tears in my eyes. I'm like, wait a minute, what the hell? This isn't right.
He doesn't deserve
so
that.
I let this guy rant enough to the point where it was just gibberish.
Because I tell you why I was hurt, because I was trying so hard to get him on, and it wasn't to be combative. I really thought he had a message to share. Yeah. And I thought he was being dismissive of me wanting to, not understanding how much I truly cared to have the message to be shared. Mm-hmm. And
well, if we didn't truly care, we wouldn't continue on what we're doing.
What we learned from this interview was that he didn't care about the message. He just cared about people agreeing with him, whether he's right or wrong.
Oh, Leah, it even goes beyond that, I think. I think you're absolutely right, but I think it goes beyond. He cares. The only message he cared about getting out, you guys.
Virtue signaling?
And shoot me if I'm wrong. He wants to be known as the players rep.
He wants to be known as
coin that phrase.
He saved
as Don King wants only in America Don King.
Right.
The players rep Robert T. Green.
But you guys
only in America Don King. The players rep Robert T. Green.
Do you remember
what he wants?
the part in the interview where he was saying he was the players rep, and then I said, but then we asked questions on behalf of the players, and he said, well, I can't speak for them. I said, well, how can you be the players rep if you aren't allowed to speak for them?
That's when he said, sir. That's when he said, excuse me, sir.
I said, you're contradicting yourself, and he goes,
Sir Baum.
Sir.
Sir Baum.
And all I said was, I'm not a sir.
I'm not a sir.
I'm a delicate little flower.
I want to point out something
Darn
too
it.
that I relatively I don't really look or care, to be honest with you, at times on who's on what coaching staff or how diverse a coaching staff is per se. You would think by some of the way that Robert T. Green would talk and some of the things that have happened, there's a lot of African Americans serving on the Iowa coaching staff. LeVar Woods has been there for 12 years.
How do they feel?
Special teams coordinator. I don't know.
That's not gonna.
I would like to. But, I mean, you have to get a collective consensus.
Defensive lines coach, has been there 7 years. Kelton Copeland, 3 years.
You
wide
can't.
receivers
That's
coach.
not the point. The point there's
But-
a story out there, and yes,
Yeah, and
get
let's
your
get the
voices
story out here.
And I think that's when we're going to talk to.
And by the way, I would
Felicia
like to
Goodson,
see
and we're
this
gonna hear
man promoted, Jay. This man was the assistant strength and conditioning coach for 15 years so far. Raymond Braithwaite.
Birth weight?
Braithwaite.
Oh.
It's goofy.
I think.
I think
from all
this
accounts I
man
heard, there's
could be
probably
promoted.
4 people that could step in right now, and there
No,
would
I know, but I'm
That's
just saying
how-
that we have people in line
Anyway,
here at the university, and I feel that that staff is diverse enough to be able to
Exactly.
handle what's going to transpire from here.
the Washed
Exactly.
Up Walk-Ons podcast dropped today. It was a very good one. I suggest everyone go to that. Go to the Swarmcast and also follow David Eichholt at David Eichholt. He writes about Iowa football, basketball, and recruiting for at 24/7 Sports at CBSI, and also Adam Hensley wrote for SI.com Hawkeye Maven. He broke down the interview almost immediately right after, and of course Todd Bromelkamp and his group up there in Cedar Rapids. Those are some of the people that just actually took the time to acknowledge us, what we did. Todd's was great because he's just like, sometimes bad radio is great radio, and this is 53 minutes of just craziness. And
I loved it.
and for anybody, in the support, by the way, has been amazing.
Yes.
Really, really has.
Yes.
And by the way, also welcome to Twitter, Bomber.
Thank you very much.
I'm
happy
glad
to be there.
I'm glad that just because after months of us saying you need to be on Twitter, it took comments of people saying love the eye rolls.
I love her facial expressions.
Yeah,
I was like, all right,
I got to check this out.
No, I got to go see what
You
people are
guys
saying.
talked her into joining that cesspool.
Yeah.
And I realized I quit Twitter
It's
because
a little
of Jay.
complicated though. Like I got Facebook down to a science, but this whole Twitter thing is a little bit. I'm like, I don't understand it. And then there's so many different little facets and links and things and places, and I don't. We'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll get there. Just give me a little time.
Yeah.
But everybody go follow me on Twitter.
Like I said,
Is it at Sir Bomber?
It is not Bomber. It's at bomber.comer.
You should change it at
Just
SirBomber.com.
really, I
Has
want
to
to
be
give this
Sir
guy that much
no,
weight.
it's hey.
Well, that's your nickname.
So
man.
People are
You
gonna
gotta-
think
that's the
I'm
way
a
to-
sir.
Yeah,
Excuse
you
me,
can't
sir.
I can't do that to you. You got to embrace that.
Yeah. By the way, these new glasses are beautiful. By the way.
Thank you.
Are those
They're
brand new?
They're tortoise shell. No, they're not brand new. I just don't wear them.
The tortoise shell?
Tortoise shell. Not real.
Oh, I was
PETA.
gonna
Settle
say.
down before I even start getting tweets from PETA.
Well, that's funny because I got some shoes that are made from tortoise fur.
Do you?
Yeah.
Wow, I'd like to see those.
I don't want to.
These are made of calf fur. These are actual cow fur.
Are
I don't know what
it
that
looks like a
means.
leopard.
Well, I mean, they're dyed.
I don't. Outside of just, I do. We need to. I do want to give a. I do need to put this down for ESPN1170am.com. A visual aid, a social media, how the whole thing transpired on Thursday. So I do need to take the time and write about how from 8 o'clock in the morning we got to where we are to finally being blocked. And I still, and I say it seriously, and people might be like tongue in cheek or whatever. I still don't know why we're blocked.
I know. We never will. We never will.
realize that
'cause
he's not happy with how the interview went in the end.
Because he looked bad. That's why.
Why?
It's
They
ego.
pulled him off, Jay.
He did that. It's ego, Jake.
And I
It's
apologize
ego.
to everybody who had an interview lined up with him, but I'm sorry.
Not our
we
fault.
already know, like,
Sorry.
we know who we are, but we also have the ability that we don't have, like, hard breaks that we got